Hi, I am vlogging extremely spontaneously. I was not planning on vlogging today, but I just decided to pick up the camera because I just had some thoughts to share, I guess. Currently, I am working on the second draft of Project Phoenix. Wait, did I even introduce myself? Hi, my name is Joy. I'm a fantasy writer. I'm currently working on the second draft of Project Phoenix, which is a gothic high fantasy with a romantic subplot. I need to work on a better blurb that I can share with you now that the story is taking more shape in this second draft, but I'll figure that out another day, I guess. I actually just closed out the vlog that you probably watched last, the one that just came out. I closed that one out only a few days ago. So at that point, I had, I think, pretty much finished chapter 1 of the second draft, and yesterday I wrote for an hour and a half and I got down over 1,000 words, and I'm about halfway through what I guess will be maybe the prologue, because it takes place about 10 years before the first chapter. But I might just make this chapter 1 and chapter 2, I don't know. It's with the same characters and everything, so that will be a later decision. But for now, I'm just calling it the prologue, since there is such a big time skip. And my current total word count for Project Phoenix Draft 2, because for those of you that don't know, I am pretty much rewriting this whole book from scratch for the most part. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna take some material from the first draft, but I'm pretty much just rewriting it, and I'm just counting the word count from 0. I'm currently at 4,412 words. So pretty solid. We've been making decent progress, but I am taking it a little bit more slowly when I'm writing, because I want these words and this prose to be a little bit more polished than even draft 1 was. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's something. But anyway, part of the reason that I decided to pick up the camera was I realized my schedule this week is full of writing with other writers, which I'm really excited for. I'm supposed to write with Taylor tomorrow morning/afternoon. It's sort of flexible. Today is Monday, by the way. So tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm supposed to be writing with Taylor. And then on Thursday, I'm FaceTiming with Emily in the evening, Emily Thompson. And then Friday morning, hopefully this still works out, but I realized that another authortuber lives close to me, so we're gonna go for a coffee writing date on Friday morning. That's the current tentative plan. And then on Saturday, I have a live stream at 12 p.m. that I'm hosting. And then the following week, I might also try to FaceTime with another person. We're just trying to figure out the time. So I'm realizing wow, I'm being really social with my writing. And I don't know, I think I'm just trying to lean a little bit more into the writing community. And writing is always going to be a little bit more solitary for me, because I feel it takes some time for me to feel fully ready to share my process with an individual person. I don't know, for me it feels different to be verbally processing and then editing a video, and then I can choose after the fact whether or not I'm comfortable with sharing the things that I'm sharing. Does that make sense? But when it's in the moment and you're with another person, sometimes I don't always know. I get clammy, I don't know how much I want to share or how much to talk about, and I don't know, maybe it will be fine, but I'm really excited, but also sort of anticipating, wow, there's gonna be a lot of writing with people. So then I realized, oh, actually, this might make a really good video topic, what it's like to be leading into community. Obviously, not all of it's in person, only one of them will be in person, but realistically speaking, I feel that's just kind of the way that it is a lot of the time, because sometimes it's hard to find other writers that are local to you. And also, logistically speaking, I've got kids and stuff, and so I would need someone to watch them for me to actually go out somewhere with someone. Whereas when you're FaceTiming, I have let each of my FaceTime dates know, I'm listen, I'm gonna do my best to be focused, but know that I'm gonna also be having children around and talking, and there might be some distractions, but also that's part of doing life together. You're not gonna have everything together all the time, and it's just, yeah, I'm just trying to make peace with that and be a little bit more vulnerable, and also just be here's my mess, here's my life. If you want to be a part of that, I want to welcome you into it. Does that make sense? I think that's just the way that you build genuine relationships. So all that being said, my camera battery is about to die, so I'm gonna keep on writing, hopefully a little bit more today. I've barely written anything. I sat down to write, and then I was oh, actually, I have thoughts. So I turned on the camera instead of writing. But I'm gonna write some more, and maybe even write outside. Who knows? It's a gorgeous day. But stay tuned for writing with other people. that makes sense that they would have that in common. Yeah. You're hiding something.
It's not my clear voice. I don't trust you. They're so funny, dude. I actually love them so much. Okay, writing.
Writing. I know, getting it back into the headspace always takes a hot minute.
On the computer. Looking like I know what I'm doing. Smiley face. LOL. Perfect. That's great. There's the blog.
There's a blog. Hello, don't mind me. I'm just out here making my third latte of the day. Probably not healthy, but like it's fine. It's all fine. I did just get off of the phone with Taylor and oh my gosh, that was so fun. I think that we talked for like maybe 2 hours, or like we talked for like an hour and like caught up and we're kind of chatting about our projects and about like how we've been doing and all that sort of thing. And then we also just kind of wrote and talked in between and all that. It was good. I'm still working on the prologue for Project Phoenix. I'm about just over halfway through it. I got about like 344 words down, which is not that much, but I was also, you know, interrupted by my kids because I also have my kids running around and, you know, talking with Taylor. Like it was a little bit more of a like chill writing session, I guess, but I also had a breakthrough when it comes to theme, which was really exciting. And I'm actually really happy with how the prologue is shaping out. So like that's good too. I'm pretty sure Taylor got over 1,000 words during like our writing portion. And she's writing one of the final chapters to Venture Alone, which is also like so exciting. I was honestly kind of honored to be there while she was writing a very like momentous moment. That was really redundant. It's okay. But yeah, that was actually like a really big milestone for me. I think that was the first fellow author tuber or writer really that I have FaceTimed and worked with. Like I've done writing lives and like we chat with each other during writing lives and stuff. And so like I had spoken with Taylor kind of face to face during a few writing lives. I think we've done 3 together. But like never completely one-on-one and never like a FaceTime in the moment thing, which like I think that was a really big step for me actually. I think that sometimes I get like a little bit self-conscious about, you know, am I gonna be awkward? Am I gonna be like really interrupted a lot by my kids, which like everyone understands that I have kids and like they're gonna need things, I'm gonna need to get up and like tend to them and stuff. And thankfully my son was napping for most of the time and my daughter is old enough that, you know, like she'll come up and talk to me and she needed snacks and stuff, but she is a little bit more independent. So, you know, I think that these FaceTime sessions are going to be doable and they're going to be so good for building community because there really is nothing quite like actually talking face to face with someone in the moment. I've done like a lot of texting with other writers and I'm in Discord servers and I am generally pretty involved in the writing community online. That's all wonderful, but it's technically also like asynchronous communication, I think is the term. But you know, when you're over FaceTime or I mean honestly like in person is even better. Like there's just nothing quite like that face-to-face interaction. But yeah, I enjoyed that and frankly the time completely flew by. Like I could not believe that that was like 2 hours. All right, I'll get you milk, baby girl. Oh, goody. I forgot that I still had half a sandwich left over from lunch. I'm really excited about that because I'm kind of hungry. But okay, another thing actually is that I asked Taylor if she would want to read like my prologue and chapter 1 once they're all finished, and she said yes, and I'm so nervous and excited about that. Honestly, it's really motivating. It makes me want to go finish the prologue right now. I mean, I don't know that I can finish it today because I feel like it has like at least another 1,000 words and I have other things I need to do. Oh my gosh, I need to edit a writing vlog so badly. I'm so behind on videos right now. But yeah, all I really want to do is write. And I feel like I should probably cling to this feeling because here's the thing. My husband has read a lot of Project Phoenix, especially like in first draft form. And I think I just read him like the first half of the prologue the other day. And he actually really liked it, which is encouraging. And then my mother has read, I think, she read like the first 40,000 words of the first draft way back when like that was all that I had. You know, I was like barely halfway. But other than that, I mean, I've shared a couple of excerpts on my channel here and there, but like nothing extensive. Nobody has actually read Project Phoenix other than like myself and like those two other people that are really close to me. So this will be the first time that like someone that's not really related to me and someone that's a writer will be reading Project Phoenix. And I'm like excited and nervous all at the same time. I really hope that it comes across the way that I want it to, you know, and I'm really hoping that the exposition that I'm weaving in makes sense and that my characters are compelling and that like, I mean, the line level writing, some of it I think is probably good. Some of it's going to need polishing, obviously. But anyway, I'm going to keep on writing. I'm going to enjoy the last half of my sandwich and my coffee. And yeah, the rest of my day will be writing, editing a video, and cleaning the house, to be honest, because the house needs it. So I will catch up with you later. Hello, it's been a few days and I just wanted to pop in and give a quick update, but the sun is setting as we speak, so I have to do this like actually quickly, not theoretically quickly. My second draft is currently sitting at 6,500 words, and as of this morning, I officially like kind of finished the chapter 1 and chapter 2. I haven't decided yet if I want to frame chapter 1 as a prologue or just make it chapter 1. I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards making it chapter 1, even though the events of chapter 1 technically happen 10 years prior, but like it involves the same character, so I don't know, maybe it'd be fine. Give me feedback in the comments if you think it should be a prologue or chapter 1. Might be challenging for you to determine that because you don't have much context for what's going on, but it does deal with the same like main character that you see in chapter 2. And even though there's a time jump, I don't know. I don't feel like it's that jarring, especially if I say 10 years later. I don't know. But that's a decision I can make another time. The point is, I'm pretty much done with them, save obviously like I'm gonna have later drafts where I make line edits and such. And I do have one structural question where I'm not sure if I want to end chapter 1 where I currently have it ended and make the resolution of chapter 1, which I haven't written yet technically, something that comes up later on, like a few chapters later. Or if I want to like continue the chapter on and like finish out that entire sequence of events that happens. I don't know if that makes any sense with no context, but like I'm doing my best here without giving spoilers for the book. Another thing is I actually sent those 2 chapters that I have pretty much ready. Like I feel like I feel comfortable with having certain people read them now, which is like very exciting because I feel very confident in them for the most part. So I sent the 2 chapters to my husband, which like, I mean, he already has read everything. So like, that's not as big of a deal, but I sent them to my childhood best friend who hasn't read anything in this project yet. And I also did send them to Taylor. And tonight I'm going to be FaceTiming Emily Thompson actually in 30 minutes. So I'm super excited for that. We're going to chat and maybe get some writing done. So if she is interested in reading these 2 chapters, I don't know, I might be tempted to send them to her too, because I'm at the point where like I'm craving like not quite beta reader feedback, not quite at that level, maybe somewhat at that level, like if people have things I want to say or like impressions, but I'm more craving the affirmation of, okay, you're going the right direction, if that makes sense. I know it's not going to be perfect, but it would be good to know whether or not it's like a gripping hook or that people would be interested in reading more, if that makes sense. I don't know. I will say I do hope that the rest of the second draft or like this next portion of the second draft goes a little bit more smoothly because this chapter 1 and chapter 2 is all completely new material. Basically what happened is that I bumped the beginning of the book to be sooner, and I had originally had a different prologue, but I completely, like I scrapped it basically. I mean, maybe it'll be a flashback later, maybe, but it might just be material that like, it did actually happen to Vera when she was a child. Like it actually, this prologue, the first prologue that I wrote initially took place when she was like 8 years old. And it was a really sweet scene, but like it didn't tell us very much. Whereas like this new initial chapter 1/2 / prologue, whatever I decide to call it, is way more pertinent to the world and a way better hook, I think. But anyway, long story short, yeah, for the most part, I just added a few chapters to the beginning of the book. So where I'm starting now is what the original chapter 1 was going to be. So chapter 3 is what was the original chapter 1. And I have many changes to make to it. Like, I am going to be rewriting it, but like the bones of it are going to remain the same. So I think I might be able to pull some of the description, some of Viria's internality and stuff like that. So I am hoping that this part of the book will go by quicker, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, I've been speaking for over 5 minutes at this point, and it's delving into less of a quick update and more of me starting to yap about my book. So I'm going to pause it here because I need to go set up to FaceTime Emily anyway, and then yeah, I'll check in again after I'm done FaceTiming with her, perhaps tomorrow or the next day. I don't know, we'll see. Hello.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you. How are things? How was your day? Did the kids go down easy? Looking at my book, being like, do I delete this?
Honest, like sometimes I'll have like a crash out, you know, on camera. There's a fire happening over here, and over here it's like, okay, this is fine, and then next week this is fine, but the fire's here, you know.
Which thing are we letting drop? Because something has to drop every week.
Oh, absolutely.
Hello.
So
To do some writing. So excited.
oh my gosh, I have so many things to say. So much has happened. As you might have gathered from the B-roll the last couple of days, I have done a lot of socializing, which is sort of the premise of this vlog anyways, because again, I sort of like accidentally scheduled a lot of meeting with other writers this week and next week, which is like so surreal and so fun and oh my gosh. But okay, first I'll talk about talking with Emily Thompson, which first of all, again, like if you don't follow any of these people, like just go subscribe to them, go watch their videos. They're genuinely wonderful people, and also like their content is incredible too. But Emily and I talked for at least 2 hours about so many things, from like life to content creation to writing, and also like what things we're writing, and more like just sharing more in depth about our projects. It's so nice to just externally process with another person. And I think that in general, writers probably tend to get along better because I feel like we all kind of have a similar like soul. I mean, everyone has like different personalities and that sort of thing, but I think that writers tend to be more empathetic, tend to be good listeners, tend to think about similar things and view the world, I mean, not perfectly the same, but like in a lot of similar ways. Like I think that writers tend to notice things and be very observant and thoughtful people. So I feel like naturally, if you like get in a room or a phone call with like another writer, it's usually pretty easy to like mesh well with them. I don't know if I've met another writer that I haven't gotten along with, but it's so fun because like Emily Thompson and I, like our projects are so similar. Like we were talking about how they would probably be shelved close to each other. Just a rich conversation. Emily is such a thoughtful person and she has such an incredible way of viewing the world, and she also like gassed me up a lot. Made me feel very validated, which is always really nice too, to just like have friends that are encouraging. It was fun too because I realized over the course of that conversation, as I was kind of comparing the first draft to the second draft and the changes that I've already made in the second draft and intend to make, I've realized that in the first draft, the stakes were a lot more ambiguous, and I mean they were kind of there but just not super well defined. But in the second draft, the world building elements that I have inserted into it and like some of the character elements that I've inserted into it have made the stakes a lot more palpable and defined, which I think is helping the story and the plot along like a lot. Like it's doing a lot of work. So that was something that I realized over the course of the conversation with Emily was, oh wow, like the stakes have actually changed a lot from first to second draft, because we were kind of talking about that a little bit. Then we also did a little sprint. I got maybe 250 words, so like not a ton, but like we shared little snippets of our work, and yeah, it was just wonderful. And then I had the privilege of reading some of her work and she read some of my work, and just You guys, like Emily Thompson, genuinely incredible writer. So good. I'm so excited to read like the final products of what she's working on. And in general, I just think it's so fun to like fangirl over like your fellow author tubers' work and support your friends and that sort of thing. It's so fun. So yes, my FaceTime with Emily went very, very well. We eventually had to sign off around midnight because it was like, okay, it's getting way too late and we gotta sleep. But then today, I literally like 30 minutes ago, I just got back from the coffee shop where I met in person Mick and Jamila, because it turns out we live within driving distance of each other, which is super exciting. I brought my stuff to write because I was like, oh, well, maybe we'll end up writing. We did not write. We just ended up all talking for like 3 hours, which was so fun. The conversation was rich. And again, like these people are genuinely wonderful people, beautiful human beings. Again, please go follow them if you don't already. We talked so much about, again, just life and writing and also like querying. And I don't know, there are just so many similarities. And of course, there are also differences too, because like we all have such different processes, but it's also really validating to hear just from other writers, like what they do. And also the fact that like none of us really know what we're doing, to be completely honest. It seems like it feels like at a distance, oh, these writers know what they're doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. But in reality, like when you talk with other writers, I mean, we're all doing our best. We maybe have like some slices of the writing life that we're more comfortable with than others, but in general, like all of us are really just figuring it out. And every single story, every single book is all just a matter of figuring it out. It's going to be different for every book. And I feel like for all of us, like there really isn't a perfect formula. We're just trying to figure out a way to birth this story into the world. And sometimes, most of the time, there's pain involved, but it's always so worth it in the end. And then the story has a life of its own. But yeah, basically debrief all of my conversations so far this week. I have spoken with 4 writers this week, and then tomorrow I'm going to live stream with 3 more. Like, what? This is honestly so surreal. I can't believe I'm like living this life where I get to like FaceTime and then meet up with people. And yeah, I mean, we're hoping to like keep on meeting up whenever we can. And maybe, I mean, I love talking to them. Maybe we'll actually get some writing done one of these days. Like once we're used to talking to each other and it's like, okay, like let's actually be productive now. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really care either way. I mean, obviously I love writing, but there is something really cathartic to being able to speak to other writers that actually understand what you're going through, because if you aren't a writer and you're not familiar with the process and like how painstaking it is, I don't know, sometimes it's different. I mean, I can complain to my husband all day long and be like, oh, this is so hard. And he can be there to comfort me and all that. But like at the end of the day, he's not writing a book, so he doesn't fully understand what it is that I'm going through. Other writers get it. It's what it's like to go through that painstaking process of transforming this story that you have in your mind, in your imagination, and just like somehow putting it on the page and having it go through that great transformation. It's just, there's nothing quite like the writing process, especially if you're trying to write a book. It's a huge commitment. But anyway, all that being said, I've been talking a lot about writing and connecting a lot with other writers. To be honest, like I haven't written a whole lot, but hopefully, especially, I mean, tomorrow we're going to actually have like writing sprints baked into the writing live stream. So like that will hopefully enable me to get like a little bit more done. Oh, another thing too, like another factor to getting together with other writers, I've had to practice talking about my book a lot. And I mean, I know I talk about it on YouTube, but I don't go extremely in depth on everything, like all the plot details, all of the world details, because like number one, it's kind of a lot. Number two, you know, there's some of it that like I want to keep spoiler free and like let people, hopefully, I mean, I'm hopefully going to be publishing this book, so like I don't necessarily want everything out there on the internet. I mean, I try to be transparent about some things and share little snippets here and there, but like again, I'm not trying to put my entire book out on the internet yet. Yeah, talking with these writer friends, I've had to like figure out how to share like my concepts and my world and my story and like the plot in a concise way, which really, I mean, it's so hard. Like if you ask me what my book is about for a second, I have like a deer in the headlights moment before I just like word vomit so much stuff. And I did write a blurb. I no longer feel like that blurb is accurate, and I also like didn't have it on hand. So yeah, when Mick asked me, tell me more about like your book, the world and stuff, I was like, and then, wow, I spoke for like 20 minutes straight, just all about the magic system and the world and like the context and the setting. And because of course, like all of that is informing our character, Vera, and also the inciting incident. Like I feel like it's hard to describe those things independent of other things. I don't know. It's just, yeah, so I explained a lot. And I felt kind of bad because I was like, I just spoke for such a long time. Hopefully you get the gist of it. But I will say that both Jamila and Mick were very encouraging. And also, yeah, Taylor and Emily, when I was kind of sharing some bits and pieces of the book, they were also very encouraging. So it's good practice to be able to like articulate what you're working on with other people verbally and process that, because otherwise, yeah, it can be so nebulous in your head. And, you know, you're working on this thing for such a long time and it consumes so much of your mind that it's hard to distill it into, you know, something that's a little bit more compact. But anyway, I'm honestly kind of all talked out right now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, because yeah, like I'm an introvert and I love people, I love socializing, but also it does drain me. So unfortunately, I actually am hanging out with friends tonight. I say that unfortunately, no, it's good. I'm really happy to be hanging out with friends, but I'm also like, I feel like I could probably stare at a wall for the rest of the day or just read for the rest of the day and be perfectly content. So hopefully I'm able to be a person tonight and not just disassociate, you know. I can already feel myself fading. So I'm going to say goodbye before I like turn off completely. I'm going to be completely honest with you. There are some days where I wake up and I just feel like everything's falling apart. I feel like I am so behind on everything. Like I just have so many things on my to-do list and I'm like panicking because I don't have enough time or energy and I'm just completely overwhelmed. Yeah. Today is one of those days. And objectively, I can look at things and be like, okay, it's fine. It's fine. Certain areas of your house can be a mess. Like you don't have to have everything organized and together all the time. If you're behind on certain things that you want to be ahead on, like it's not the end of the world. If you need to take the time to rest because you're getting burnt out, like it's worth it to take that time. I can tell myself all those things, but I still feel that like spiral of like, ah! But you know, I'm just going to show up today anyways, because I think that it will ultimately make me feel better to write today. But okay, all that in the background, I'm going to try to abandon that because I really want to lock in and get in like a 30-minute writing sprint right now. When I'm feeling overwhelmed like this, sometimes it is hard for me to sit down and focus on writing, but other times it actually helps me to calm down. So I never really know which way it's gonna go, but we're gonna try it. I'm also realizing that I never actually updated you, I think, on like how the live stream went on Saturday. So just to orient you in time and space, today is Thursday. Oh, I don't have, I'm sorry, I don't have my running watch on, which is, you know, how I normally tell the time and other such things. It's a watch. But I just saw in the viewfinder how bad my like watch tan is. Oh my gosh, that tan line. Oh, anyway, today is, let me check my phone instead. June 12th. And yeah, the live stream happened, I think, June 7th. So it's been like nearly a week since I have updated you guys on how the draft is going and etc. First of all, the live stream, wonderful, delightful, as I expected it to be. I did get very tired in the middle of it. So like I kind of had to sign off rather than doing an extra sprint like I was maybe hoping to do. But honestly, yeah, all the people that I did the live stream with, I don't know if I said it, it was Lindy Jung, Cody the writer, and Belle Brooke. Those were the three. So go subscribe to them if you haven't already, because they are wonderful people. It was such an honor to get to stream alongside them. But anyway, at this point, I don't really remember how many words I got while I was live streaming. It's been too long. That information has exited my brain. But as of right now, I'm around 9,000 words. Oh, and I also got to FaceTime with Taylor again, sort of like impromptu, but it was honestly really, really fun. And I'm helping her with something like a little secret project. I don't know if it's a secret or not, but I'm not gonna spill the beans. I'll let her spill the beans. Yeah. And we talked a lot about our books and projects, and also we're just generally productive in tandem with each other on Tuesday. So that was really fun. I'm enjoying the accountability and like the brainstorming that comes with connecting with other writers. It's very nice. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna lock in for like 30 minutes. I'm gonna try. We're gonna go upstairs to the attic because that's where I can lock in the best, I feel. My mother-in-law has the kids right now. She just picked them up. I spent the whole morning with them outside painting. Frankly, I think that's part of the reason that I'm feeling so tired is that like we made a disaster outside and it was all really good and fun, and I felt like it's good for my kids. I do have to like release that part of me that wants everything to be perfect though. I just have to like let them play, and it's gonna be a mess and it's gonna be fine, and it's washable paint. So yeah, I'm gonna quit yapping and get to writing. Oh, and tomorrow evening, I'm gonna FaceTime with another friend. Before I get started, I kind of want to re-listen to a voice chat that Taylor sent me the other day because she finished reading chapter 1. I sent her chapter 1, a little preview. And honestly, like Taylor is just such a hype person. She like is so encouraging. Like I don't know if I've ever met a person that's as encouraging as Taylor is. And before I get started with this draft, especially since I am feeling like a little bit down in general, I think I am approaching this writing session with a bit more negative energy than I would prefer to have. So I had the thought that maybe I should listen to Taylor's very encouraging message again, just as like a little reminder that, okay, there is something good here. She really enjoyed it, had some good things to say, so.
I just read the first chapter, and hello? First of all, your storytelling ability is incredible. I already feel like I know your characters. Your descriptions, the prose, oh my god.
Okay, I definitely needed that like little boost. Because I don't know, like even if a person's goal is to encourage you, like it's still really nice to hear stuff like that. So I don't know. At least one person likes it. So not that that's my motive for writing, but it's a good feeling. Yeah, I just started the second draft a couple weeks ago.
So you're doing a full rewrite?
Pretty much. Are you on your 4th draft?
Yeah, that's it. I don't need any more developmental edits. And then I was like, oh no, we're not done, girl.
Oh yeah. I think you're tired.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry, even though you ate a whole dinner an hour ago. Hello, same place, different angle. As you saw, I got to FaceTime with Sarah Jane last night for a couple of hours, and we chatted, and we had 2 like 30-minute writing sprints. So yes, we chatted, but it was also very productive. My daughter did interrupt us several times because she was supposed to be in bed, but she kept on like getting out of bed and wanting to talk and wanting snacks and stuff like that. But I am really thankful that, you know, all the people that I have gotten the chance to chat with these last few weeks have been just really gracious, you know, with the fact that I'm a mom, if that makes sense. And I am going to be interrupted. I am going to need to tend to my kids because that's really just what my life is like right now. So I am grateful. They give a lot of grace and they give a lot of space for those things to happen, even if I have to like leave for 5 to 10 minutes to snuggle with my daughter. I did hit 10,000 words in my second draft last night, which is super exciting. So I'm just over 10,000 words and I'm pretty much done with the draft of chapter 3, which chapter 3, I maybe pulled 3 paragraphs or like a handful of lines really from like something that I wrote in the first draft, but the scene itself changed drastically, like the conversations that the characters had, and then I like added on to the end of the scene something completely different, and really I'm changing my characters a lot. I'm adding some more context and world building so that the reader feels a little bit more grounded, because I need to establish what's going on, establish the stakes, establish how this world works before I can kind of break it open later, if that makes sense. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. This afternoon, after I'm done filming this little update, I think I am going to go back through chapter 3 and just comb through it and smooth out the prose a little bit, like nothing crazy, but I did have a couple of placeholders and I do feel like I had some major flow issues where my brain completely glitched out, especially since it was so much new content. So it feels more like first draft quality rather than second draft quality. And I just want to like go through and elevate it a little bit, because I am fairly confident that most of this scene at least is going to remain in the final draft. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. As a whole, I want the second draft to be consistent in quality. So I do want to do another pass before I move on to chapter 4. I am especially excited to get to the inciting incident, which is about 2 chapters away, or maybe only a chapter and a half, depending on how I choose to divide the chapters. Because after the inciting incident is when I get to introduce our dear friend Cecil. And I love Cecil. He is probably my favorite character in this book, and I love writing from his POV, and I just love his character arc, so I'm excited to jump into Cecil's character and also the changes that I've made to his character as well, because thus far I've been very focused on Vera and very focused on world building and a couple of the supporting characters. So yeah, that's my tentative plan for today. Before I wrap up this vlog, considering the fact that it was very much leaning into the community aspect of being a writer and talking with other writers, I wanted to verbally process some of that, wrap up some of my experience and how I aspire to be moving forward, I guess, if that makes sense. I mean, it's nothing dramatic, but I am aware that there's been some discourse on authortube community, on belonging, on finding your people, on making friends, and different people have had different experiences, so like I want to be sensitive to that, but I'm also not going to like delve into any tea or drama territory. So if you're like here for that, I'm very sorry, I'm not that person. I don't know, I'm the type of person that just wants to get along with everyone. I want to be friends with everyone. I want to be at peace with everyone. But I also realistically know that I'm not going to have the capacity to have like 50 really close and intense friendships. I mean, no one really has that capacity. And especially me being like a busy mom and a person that already has some other friendships that like aren't writer friendships, and I have a husband and a community here and a job to work and YouTube channels to run, and I don't know, like I always have a lot of plates that are spinning. And I think because of that, initially when I was like stepping into the authortube community space, I don't know, I desperately wanted to be included and involved with the community. I wanted to build that community up. That's part of the reason that I started this YouTube channel, was that I wanted to kind of like put myself out there and get to know people and talk about writing and craft and all that sort of thing, because I don't really have that. You know, I'm not really close friends with any writers, which is funny because I was a creative writing major. And so I had some friends in my English major and in my creative writing concentration, but none of those friendships, I mean, they were more like acquaintances, right? So none of those have really persisted, especially since I took a 5-year break from writing after graduating. So I was really longing to connect with people about writing, about craft, about stories, but in tandem with that desire to be in community, I also was feeling this intimidation and hesitation to fully jump in, because I'm aware that being in community and being in a relationship is demanding of your time and energy. And I'm a person that doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of time and energy to spare. So where I want to build all these connections and all these deep relationships, like I long for that and I want to be that person for people. But like I also know that I like just don't have a ton of capacity as it is. So it's, I was afraid of biting off more than I can chew and then disappointing people, letting people down because I am unable to be like the friend that I want to be. And also being in community requires vulnerability and risk and mutual sacrifice. And sometimes I'm self-conscious and worried that, okay, what if I FaceTime this person and then it's super awkward and we don't know what to talk about and like we have a hard time connecting and it's like, ugh. Or what if I meet up with this person and it's just crickets or like we just don't mesh? There's always risk as well to do stuff like that. So I think that all of those things in a big soup were making me more hesitant to fully engage and lean in. And I started writing live streams, and of course I was interacting in the comments with people. I joined a Discord, but all those things still felt more safe, if that makes sense. So these last 2 weeks, hopping on FaceTimes, meeting people in person, face to face, that has been a big leap for me in terms of my vulnerability, my presence, my giving of my time and energy. Now I want to be careful because I know that I can only maintain so many friendships. I can only maintain so many connections, but I also want to be friends and friendly with everyone. Yeah, I enter that conundrum a lot. But even with all of that, it's absolutely worth it. So if you are wondering, you yourself are wondering, okay, should I take that step of like FaceTiming that person and joining that writer group or whatever that step may be for you? I do think that it is worth the risk. Now, obviously be safe, protect yourself. Internet safety is still a thing. Use your discernment and common sense and whatnot. But I do think that talking with other writers and with other creatives and people that really resonate with the process that you're going through, that is a very unique and different process, is so invaluable. And I do think that writers in general, and I think I may have talked about this previously, so if I did, I'm sorry, but I do think that writers in general have typically, generally speaking, have a really great sense of empathy, especially since you're having to constantly put yourself in the mind and shoes of the characters that you're writing. You're having to adapt to these different circumstances. You're having to look at things from different perspectives and points of view. And a lot of writers tend to have similar backgrounds where maybe they daydreamed a lot as a child or they fell in love with storytelling for whatever reason, that they have stories in them that they long to tell and they love books, they love words. And so automatically you just have something kindred that you can connect about. And obviously from there you can find other commonalities and make friendships in other ways aside from the commonality of writing. But I do think that writer friends have a really profound potential to become lifelong, really close and intimate friendships. And in a society where we have a loneliness epidemic, where people are really isolated, where people are having a hard time connecting with each other, finding another person with these deep rivers of connection and so many things in common, finding people where you feel like you can be fully yourself and fully present and vulnerable about some of the most raw parts of your life, particularly as it pertains to writing, because writing can be a very anxious and vulnerable and invigorating and everything process. I don't know. There's definitely something to that. And then if you end up sharing stories with each other, sharing early chapters and encouraging one another, that's another thing where like writers understand what it's like to pour your heart and soul into a story where maybe your friends and family that aren't writers, they don't fully understand it. And you might give them a chapter to read, but they don't know how to speak to that like deep insecurity that you might be feeling. They don't know how to encourage you because they don't know what it cost you in the same way that another writer does. So, am I still sometimes afraid of putting myself out there too much and also like inconveniencing people or like being imposing because I don't want to impose? That's a whole other thing too. Oh my goodness. Am I sometimes afraid of giving too much of myself? Yes. All of the fears still remain. The hesitations still remain to some degree. But after these last 2 weeks where I've had the pleasure and the joy of fully leaning in to authortube community, or at least getting a taste of what it can be like, yeah, I think that I have fewer reservations and I'm more excited than anything else to continue leaning in to the best of my ability, and I'm going to continue to be present as much as I can. Obviously, that's going to look different for every single person and their life circumstances, but in my experience so far, my fellow writers have been so gracious about the fact that, yeah, I have to work around my family and my job and my life circumstances, and people are willing to meet you halfway, which I really truly appreciate. So yes, go make friends, put yourself out there, give grace to people and they'll give grace to you back, all that sort of thing. But I do think that I'm gonna wrap up this video here because I think that this vlog is fairly long at this point, and because I'm leaving for Florida in a few days, I don't have any more like meeting up with people on the calendar. I'm going to be visiting my family for a week and a half, and I'm very excited to see them. It's been way too long. But anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like writing vlogs like this, I have so many of them on my channel, so please do check out the playlist where you can see how I'm working on Project Sol, Project Phoenix, so on and so forth. I also would love to talk more about like writing craft and that sort of thing in the future. I think I'd have like one video out on that right now about exposition. But yeah, feel free to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, until next time, bye!